This innocent man was on a peaceful bike ride when attacked by a mysterious creature. Sightings of this twisted and defiled monster are rare. He bikes along without a worry in the world, but will be left scarred for life with savage nightmares.
Really?
He looks back in shock, but the disgusting beast has already disappeared.
Lorelei, come here. Lorelei, who are you playing with? What are you doing?
What?
Amy? 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 Amy?
He's not catching ball with you? Yeah. You need someone to play ball?
Step out so we can check the residence. We got a call to this address. Reports of screaming.
Really?
Yes.
Guys, I have no idea who this lady is. She's been standing at my door for like 30 minutes.
Welcome back now to China. At least 17 U.S. military bases near Chinese-owned farmland, reportedly seeing a surge in drone activity and sightings in recent weeks. The sightings happening near bases in Hawaii and installations in Utah, California, Maine, and Florida. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman 𝐜𝐫𝐞𝐞.
You've probably heard that pole shifts happen. That the North Pole isn't always where the North Pole currently is, and that sometimes these things flip. That's always struck me as an extremely dangerous condition, and I always assumed, well, what are the chances you're going to be alive? You know, if you were alive within 500 years of a pole flip, that would be kind of a close call. But what are the chances it's going to happen during your lifetime? Well, we are actually living in a moment where the pole is actively migrating. We are in the midst of what's called a polar excursion. The pole seems to be flipping, and it seems to be flipping at the same time that our electromagnetic field of the Earth is decreasing. Now, that decreasing field means that what's flung off the sun has a bigger impact on Earth than it would ordinarily have. And that pole flip threatens chaos. You could imagine if we feared 𝐬𝐤𝐞, right, that a programming error, failure to account for the fact that you were going to have this turnover in the dates, worried people, that an actual pole flip would create chaos. And the fact that we are not at least as worried, if not 10 times as worried, about the fact that we are living through a polar excursion and a radical decrease in the strength of our electromagnetic field on Earth says that we just have our priorities wrong.
Now, the root chakra of the planet is located over there where these wildfires happening at. And this just showing that the root chakra is activated. The root chakra is now ignited. These are elemental infernals that come from the 72 demonic forces that's activating from the root chakra. These elementals activating is really just all the different chakra glands of the planet activating. So when a power outage is gonna happen, it's because the plasma beings has activated. Just as the earth beings are going to activate with the earthquakes as well. So all these natural disasters is the 144, it's us. Because the 72 demonic, the 72 angelic, they elementals. And this where the elementals activating from, us. So as the chakras on the planet activate, the chakras within us activate, showing you that the eternal and the external is one. Namaste, Ashe.
Well, I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, oh, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be, I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
It's like, that is the weirdest thing.
Keep driving.
Is it a drone? What?
Can you keep driving? It looks like an alien.
Hey friends, so are we only a few days away from one of the biggest UFO disclosures in the history of humanity? Well, according to Stephen Greer, yes. I've had tons of people ask me my opinion on Stephen Greer and this upcoming disclosure. So, this is my thoughts on it. What he is saying, and he's very confident in this, and he goes back decades. He's been working on this for a very long time, and he's very confident with these dates, saying that before the inauguration, which is in 8 days, about a week, that this coalition of whistleblowers is coming together. They've been working with him for like 2 years, drafting up all the stuff, gathering all the evidence, and organizing themselves, because what they're going to tell the world is going to shock everybody, and it's going to put their lives at risk, because a lot of them are breaking NDAs. They are going to be talking about classified information. There's all sorts of things these guys are supposedly going to be doing that is very, very risky, would land them in jail for life or worse. So what they're doing is this sort of shock and awe campaign where they're all coming together and they're going to release just a treasure trove of evidence, and they're going to do it unmasked, meaning they're going to do it with their real names and identities and faces, and they're going to do it together, and they're doing it with this kind of organized process through Stephen Greer, where he is releasing it to all the biggest influencers in the world, all the biggest media outlets in the world, and all the governments at the same time. So it's kind of like, squeezing all the toothpaste out of a tube and trying to put it back in. You can't do it. So at this point, all the toothpaste, it'd be like jumping on a tube of toothpaste, and just all the paste comes out, and then the governments are all just like, well, shit. Like, what do we do now? So they're taking it seriously, and he says that these guys all work at like what are called black sites, which means they're like the top secret sites around the world. They work in these underground bases, that they all work on sensitive material, that they all have firsthand knowledge of extraterrestrials, alien craft, the fact that we have exotic technologies and free energy and all this stuff, right? So this is what he's been saying. He's been making the media rounds, going on all the podcasts and going on talk shows and news and talking about this, and he's very confident. So, is it going to happen? Well, my spidey senses tell me it just might, because the fact that he's putting out this short timeline, he's not saying, oh, within the next year, because a lot of UFO whistleblower people will be like, coming this year or next year in 2027. They put out these dates and they know people will forget about it by then, or they can't be held directly responsible because they can say, oh, well, a lot changed in the last 2 years. Stephen Greer is saying this week, next week, okay? Very specific, and he cares about his credibility. He uses his credibility as leverage to do the things that he does. So I don't think he would just throw that out there if he didn't really believe it. And also, I think that these whistleblowers are taking advantage of the fact that this Trump organization seems to be hell-bent on truth, transparency, out with the old guard, in with the new, and leading us into this age of prosperity, this golden age that Trump keeps talking about. Well, what is the best way to usher in the golden age? How about free energy? How about something that instantly transforms our entire civilization, every civilization on the planet? It would transform our trajectory of humanity. It would put us in a state where now all of a sudden we can start reversing the harm we've done to the planet. We can reduce pollution. We can bring electricity and fuel to nations that don't have it. We can, do all sorts of amazing things essentially overnight, because according to Stephen Greer, these technologies exist. We have them. The governments have already reverse engineered them. They use them. They just don't tell the public because it would out their whole program. Then they would have to say where they got this stuff from, right? And according to Greer, they get it from downed, crashed, UAP, which are extraterrestrial craft. Whether these craft are given to us for this purpose, to give these technologies to humanity, or whether we are downing them with like EMPs, I'm not sure. Now, I don't agree with everything Stephen Greer says. He is a little overly optimistic, if you ask me. He says that basically, he talks in absolutes. So he'll say, oh, all the things you're seeing in the sky, the drones and stuff, that's all man-made. That's it, all of it. Even the orbs are all man-made. And it's like, okay, I don't believe that. Some of this stuff is exotic, because some of this stuff's been going on since before, for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, okay? I've seen these things in person, and I get an organic vibe from it sometimes. Now some of it is man-made. I guarantee you we have, UFO that are mistaken for extraterrestrial that are man-made. I know that's the case. So it's a mixture. So I don't get why he always says absolutes like that. And he also says all ETs are benevolent. They're all nice and they all want good for humanity. I don't buy that either. I mean, I don't think the universe works in absolutes. I think that there's a duality to nature, and that there's not necessarily good and bad, but there's negative and positive. And sometimes beings, especially intelligent beings, will do something to you, not because they're evil, but because you're just caught in the crossfire. For example, if a human developer wanted to build apartments here and they came in and they tore down all these forests like they do all the time, well, we would be seen as evil to the deer and the bears and the fox and everything in this forest. Well, are those developers evil? Inherently? No, they're just doing their job. But to all the woodland creatures out here, they're evil. So I don't get this thing where he says humans are bad and ETs are good. I don't think it's that cut and dry. But I do agree with a lot of what he says. And when it comes to the whole disclosure thing coming up, this week is going to be crazy. I mean, I don't know what to expect. I mean, we have the inauguration coming up. I don't know if somebody's going to do something to try to stop it. I don't know if these whistleblowers are going to come out and capitalize on this. If that's the case, we're talking about the biggest disclosure in the history of the world. They're talking about people coming out and proving, not just saying it, but proving is what he's saying, is that they're going to prove we're not alone in the universe, that ETs are visiting us, that we have relationships and programs with them, and that we have their technology. Oh my God. Can this year get any more bananas? So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying there's a decent chance it's going to happen because of the confidence Greer is exerting behind this. And he doesn't typically do that. He's a confident guy for sure, but I've never heard him put a timeline like this on something, especially something this big. So it's going to be a wild week, guys. Buckle up and let me know what you guys think about this. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
But well, it started off as comments. So when you have a big Instagram account, you're going to miss a lot of messages because people message, go to hidden messages and everything else. You miss a lot of stuff. Well, I kept seeing this comment on recent posts that I put in there, and it was from this burner account that said, hey, check your DMs, check your DMs, check your DMs. So I go in there and try to find it. There's no message from this guy, hadn't come through or whatever. And then he messages again once that message was opened up. And I said, hey, your previous messages haven't come through. What do you want to tell me? And he said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity. Okay, a little bit dramatic. I get these messages all the time. People have this big story they want to tell. They want to expose their command, whatever. I take everything with a grain of salt until I have evidence and proof. So this guy is insistent. He tells me that he is a 18 Zulu who I've spoken to before, and he really needs to get this stuff to me. And then he talks about you. He says, I need you to get me in contact with Sean Ryan. I'm like, dude, I don't know Sean Ryan. I'm not that big, but he's insistent that I get him diverted to media sources, says go to Fox News, whatever else. And I said, all right, tell me what you got. So I give him my Proton email account, give him my signal number. And he reaches out immediately. And I'm going to read this initial message for you because doesn't have names or anything else on it. But this was his message on Sunday. He reached out and said, like I said, this last Sunday, he said, sending with a VPN active on Wi-Fi only. Do not message me. I will send out updates via both Signal and email, but trust me, you're going to want to be involved. Well, first of all, no, I didn't want to be involved. Anyways. And then, so I didn't message. I responded back to his original Instagram message. And I said, hey, I got your message on Proton Mail. And he said, cool, delete this. So I deleted it. That's how I ended up getting this message on Tuesday. So the message that this right here, this manifesto, if you want to call it that, came in on Tuesday. And when I started reading this, my initial take was, okay, this is off the deep end. It's bonkers. I can't validate or verify any of the stuff in this manifesto. Mm-hmm. And I told him that in a subsequent email. And I'll read that to you later, my response to him. And once again, my response to him elicited, hey, get me in contact with Sean Ryan, Fox News, and he even said Pete Hegseth. Get me in contact with Hegseth. And I'm like, dude, I don't have the incoming Secretary of Defense's phone number. Sorry, bro. That's the last time I talked to him. So yesterday morning.
What date was that?
That was Tuesday. That was this Tuesday. So we're Friday now. That was 3 days ago.
So
the day before.
30th?
Yeah, the day before the attack. I dismissed this stuff out of hand.
The 31st. It was on the 31st.
Yes. In fact, I posted something on my... I told your producer about this as well. But this was a post I made on Twitter. I was just trying to be humorous, off the cuff. It was... I didn't mean anything about it. I was just being humorous for my audience. I said, my inbox was especially eventful today. Allegations of war crimes, government anti-gravity technology, and fears about being tracked and watched by the feds. It's always, the world is ending and I have this information that needs to get to the media, and never, how you doing, brother? Everything all right? I was just playing off of a meme. Mm-hmm. It was just supposed to be a joke. That was the body of his email that he sent me. And I didn't think anything about it. I didn't know who Matt Berg was, Matt Livelsberg, or anything else. He told me who he was in the email. He pointed me to his LinkedIn account. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I was just kind of being humorous with my audience. Like, I get these crazy messages sometime. And then the day after that message, I wake up and it was like, hey, Sam, nobody in the community seems to know this guy. Do you happen to know who he is? And I played that for you before we came up here. Just absolute shock. That's how I woke up yesterday.
Do you want to play it now?
Yeah. Excuse my language. I was definitely in shock. Let me find this chat. So,
while you're digging through that, you know what we should do? I should get that Instagram account from you to see if they messaged any of our Instagram accounts. And we should also get that email address.
I don't have it. I deleted it.
You deleted it.
He told me to delete it and I deleted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should also get that email address and see if they sent it in through the website, and see if he tried to contact us, get that to the FBI.
So I'm in a military.
Hopefully they actually do something.
Yeah, I'm in a military group chat. Buddy Green Beret, Corey, he says, at Sam. Nobody I've asked in the community knows him. You is at 8:46 a.m. yesterday. So I woke up and I said, OF, I'm shaking. This guy emailed me 2 days ago. I'm not playing. And then he said, damn. And then this was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
Dude, I'm fucking shaking, bro. You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a VBID. I'm not fucking playing, dude. I have the email. I am shaking, man. This is nuts.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot. And I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan. So let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And I had a buddy who knew your producer, and we went from there. But
Wow.
Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPCEN, that's Operations Center, our OPCEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff, and this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with, redacted, IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted, can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? 𝐜𝐫𝐞 would be good too. That was his last message to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, what is a gravitic propulsion system?
To be honest with you, it is a fancy term you're going to find in science fiction. You won't find it in any, as far as I know, you won't find this in any kind of official manual or, scientific research. This is all science fiction. So, but what struck me is his use, what strikes me now, not then, but what strikes me now is his use of a very specific term that nobody else call it. If you asked me, I would say an anti-gravity propulsion system. That's how I would describe it, because I don't know this stuff. He said gravitic propulsion system.
Downstairs clear. Downstairs clear?
Yeah, we're good.
Now, something that's odd about this video is that all the closets appear to be empty. Although somewhat strange, the video's description states that the homeowner occasionally rents out the house through Airbnb. So, as to prevent guests/renters from stealing personal items such as clothes, leaving the closets empty is necessary. Now, another thing that viewers point out is that the cops don't bother turning on the lights. This is actually normal though, as taking the time to find the light can spell life or death for the officer. All officers must be ready to confront any danger during a search, meaning that all their attention is solely given to the threat at hand. However, the doors opening by themselves when the officer searches upstairs, and the sudden footsteps heard right behind him are things that viewers can't seem to explain. Whatever it might have been, the homeowner can rest assured that nobody's inside. But depending if she's a believer in the paranormal, living with a ghost,
A loud rustling, like something large, very large, moves through the woods nearby. His heart races as the sound fades, as if it's moving away. Then, through the trees, he spots it. A massive, dark figure, swift, almost too swift, slips between the trees, just out of reach. Was it a bear or something else? Driven by curiosity, Travis follows, but when he reaches the spot, it's gone. No sign of the creature, no tracks, as if it never existed. Travis checks the footage he just captured, but there's something strange on the playback.
I think what I saw was another person. I don't know why they're out here and why they're running through the bushes. I mean, it's bright out here, and it was almost like it was a pure shadow that I was watching. It could have been a black bear. This is a wild place, but it was trying to be stealthy walking through the woods. But yeah, it could just be a homeless person, huh?
What do you think it was? A trick of the light, or something more sinister? He decides to head home, opting for safety. If you find these 5 encounters unsettling, then brace yourself for what you're about to see next. This is one of the most disturbing encounters ever recorded. Here we go again with another thrilling exploration with 𝐤𝐫𝐞. You might recognize him from the video before, and from his popular YouTube channel, Grizzly 𝐤𝐫𝐞. Known for his calm demeanor and skepticism, 𝐤𝐫𝐞 never backs down from a challenge, but tonight we'll test even his limits again. It's a windy, misty day on August 27th, 2023. 𝐤𝐫𝐞, accompanied by his loyal dog Fendi, arrives at a dark and foreboding forest. The thick mist clings to the trees as 𝐤𝐫𝐞 begins his usual routine, setting up camp, lighting a fire, and preparing dinner. Equipped with his night vision camera and a trail camera, he hopes to catch some wildlife. But what he's about to capture is far more unsettling.
Right, it's 12 o'clock now, well 5 past. And heard note or see note as such, but I've got all the cameras rolling outside.
After everything is set, Gaz prepares for what he hopes will be a peaceful night. But that peace is shattered quickly.
Of her neighbor's house after observing something quite unsettling. While her neighbors were away on vacation, far from their home, something bizarre was happening inside their garage. Despite their absence, the garage lights had mysteriously turned on. The woman who noticed this strange occurrence as she walked by decided to record the scene. However, as she continued to watch, she witnessed something that left her utterly terrified. Check this out.
Demon is D. Mon. Mon is moon, meaning emotion. D means negative. A demon is a negative emotion, which possess your mind, body, and spirit. You have a physical and an astral body. Constant negative thoughts and emotions create astral energy, which latch onto your body. These entities are created by your own thought forms. You feed them by giving them mental and emotional energy. Every addiction you have is an astral entity that you have created. The astral plane is the screen you have in your mind that allows you to vision an apple, and you have a whole body there. The more thoughts and emotions that you give to these entities, the stronger impact they have over your physical body. I, Magi Nation, you are a magician bringing thought and emotions into physical reality. You've been doing magic your whole life. Thoughts and emotions are more powerful than you think. They are the commands that bring things into physical reality.